What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to Celio's Network. Today we're looking at some decks under the radar in November 2021 in the standard format of the Pokemon TCG, with the newest set being Fusion Strike. These are decks that are not that popular, and I'd venture to say they're even underplayed relative to the potential that I think they have. So we'll look at lists from 5 decks that have seen some success recently and talk a little bit about each of these decks. Before we hop into that, shout out to PotownStore.com, the best place to get PTCGO codes, and CardTrooperGames.com, where you can find booster boxes and singles. Use code Celio for 5% off at both of those websites, and you can find all of my standard format deck lists over at PokemonCard.io. Be sure to subscribe to the channel for daily Pokemon TCG content, and all the links you'll need are in the description down below. We'll start off with Simon's Malamar Rapid Strike list here. Now, Azul GG, if you haven't heard of Azul GG, you probably have, but go check out his channel as well. Put out a Malamar list similar, but using Chinchino as the engine as opposed to Drizzile and Teleon. Malamar Rapid Strike was played back when it first came out, but the meta developed to be a very damage spread and snipe heavy metagame that was not welcome to single prize decks. Right now, we have a lot of decks that are just hitting what's in front of them in the active spot, like Mew VMAX and Single Strike Urshifu and Leafeon VMAX. So I do think that this is the time to start playing these smaller Pokemon again that are weak to damage spread and snipe damage and can take advantage of the fact that there's not a whole ton of that happening right now, at least at the time of recording this video in the metagame. So Simon did place well at a recent event with this Rapid Strike Malamar deck. Rapid Strike Malamar has the Rapid Strike Tentacles attack. It does 40 damage times the amount of Rapid Strike cards you reveal from your hand. So if you reveal 7 or 8 Rapid Strike cards, you're doing upwards of 300 and so damage for just 1 energy on a Pokemon that's only worth 1 prize card when knocked out. So this deck can be very strong and can take down VMAX Pokemon, and Simon showed that with his placement recently in a Play.LimitlessTCG.com tournament. So if you're looking for a non-VMAX deck to try out, and you're okay maybe having a bad matchup to things like Dragapult and Jolteon VMAX, Malamar Rapid Strike might just be the deck for you. Next, we'll look at Alex Schemanske's very unique Duraludon VMAX deck that's utilizing some cards we don't get to see played much, again, for a similar reason of the snipe damage hurting these smaller support Pokemon like Zorua and Minccino. Even the evolved form of Minccino, Chinchino, and Altaria, they're pretty low HP, and they can be taken out quite easily by those decks I'm talking about, like Dragapult VMAX, Jolteon VMAX, Rapid Strike Urshifu's Rapid Flow. And so this deck uses the Zoroark that can turn into any stage 1 Pokemon from your discard as kind of the engine of the deck to get into Chinchino to draw cards, and Bronzong to move metal energy around, Altaria to set supporters to the top, and even the very underused Abomasnow that gives your single strike Pokemon plus 50 HP. Duraludon VMAX itself has the ability that says it cannot be damaged by your opponent's Pokemon that have special energy on them. And special energy is very good right now, and it's very popular. Mew VMAX is using it, Rapid Strike Urshifu is using it, Single Strike Urshifu and Umbreon and Gengar are using it. So Duraludon VMAX can wall out these Pokemon that are using these very strong special energies, and I think that this deck is underplayed for that reason. So this deck might be a little hard to play because there's so much going on with the basic, the non-VMAX Pokemon with Zoroark's ability. But I do think this deck is a lot of fun to play, and you'll also get some easy wins if your opponent just cannot hit Duraludon VMAX because of its ability. Next, we have Quad Victini VMAX, which was played by Lee Bui. Lee has actually played this deck in the prior format as well, and is now playing it again in the Fusion Strike format. And this is a pretty simple deck. You only have Victini Vs to play down as your basic Pokemon, and you only have Victini VMAX as your Pokemon to evolve into. There's nothing more to the Pokemon line of the deck. But because of that, there is so much room for trainers. So it plays 4 Crushing Hammer and 4 Fan of Waves and 4 Path to the Peak to be very disruptive. 4 Pokemon catchers and 4 boss to almost always have a gust effect available. And Kabu, which is a supporter you never see played, it allows you to shuffle your hand into your deck and then draw 4 cards. But if you have only 1 Pokemon in play, you get to draw 8 cards instead. So it's perfect for this type of deck. This can be good if Zacian is making the comeback that it seems like it's starting to make. And Victini VMAX is also able to just be aggressive and chase down the benched V Pokemon of most decks while they're still on the bench unevolved. Its main weakness, of course, is going to be Suicune decks, since Victini VMAX is your only attacker, and it's weak to water. Next, we have Togekiss VMAX Moltres, and this is a deck I've been preaching is being underplayed and underappreciated. This deck does take a lot of skill because of the searching mechanic of Togekiss VMAX's attack. After you swing 120, you get to search for any 2 cards. And when you get to search for any 2 cards, there are going to be almost all the time 2 optimal cards to get, granted that your opponent doesn't Marnie you. Galarian Moltres gives the deck a nice backup. That Galarian Moltres can do 190, which is going to clean up a lot of Pokemon after Togekiss hits it for 140 with 1 powerful energy on it. And also it can one-shot Dark Weak Pokemon like Mew VMAX and Dragapult VMAX. This was piloted recently to a good placement by Nicholas Homa. I do know that the Fernandez brothers, senior and a junior, or 2 seniors, that have been playing a lot in the online era have also placed well with Togekiss VMAX variants, and I'm a big fan of Togekiss VMAX, and I think this deck is positioned quite well because it can just swing with Togekiss, get what you need, and then next turn Mew VMAX is being targeted by Moltres V. Most decks are being targeted by Moltres V to be cleaned up after Togekiss hit them. It's a really cool and different deck. It is running the Inteleon Sobble Drizzle engine, but a pretty different deck nonetheless. And I do think it's being underplayed just because it's not overtly powerful with its attacks, and it's definitely a little it's more intricate to play as well. So it's a little harder to just pick up and play, but I do think it's being underplayed right now. And if you're looking for something a little more challenging to play, I suggest trying to take this for a spin. Lastly, we're looking at Eternatus. Just, it seems like 6 months ago, maybe, Eternatus VMAX was one of the decks at the very top of the game, and it has quickly fallen off. But I do think Eternatus VMAX is back a little bit now because Dark Weakness is so good to hit, and it gained Hoopa V in this set, which has the ability that says it is also a Psychic type Pokemon. So with an attachment and an energy switch from Galarian Moltres, and then next turn, an attachment to Hoopa, and then Dire Flame Wings to Moltres, an energy switch off of it to Hoopa, and then next turn you attach again, Hoopa can attack, or even get a double energy switch turn off. Ricardo Toddy was not playing Adventurer's Discovery, the new supporter card from Fusion Strike, in this list, but I also think that is a worthy inclusion for this. Umbreon VMAX is such a strong card. There's just a lot of hard-hitting cards in here, and combined with Umbreon VMAX's Gust, it's an aggressive deck. And the really poor thing about this is Single Strike Urshifu hitting the Eternatus VMAXs for weakness. So in the Single Strike Urshifu matchup, and also if you can in the Rapid Strike Urshifu matchup, you kind of have to play without your Eternatus VMAXs for a portion of the game, just so they don't get those easy one-hit knockouts on VMAXs. Since Umbreon VMAX and Hoopa V and Galarian Moltres V are all weak to grass, they're going to be better attackers versus those fighting types. But Mew VMAX is the most popular deck and the best deck right now, so you should have an easy time against those decks with Eternatus VMAX. And yeah, those are the 5 decks today that I think are going under the radar and being underplayed relative to the potential that they have in the competitive standard format right now. So leave a like and a comment if you enjoyed the video, and subscribe to the channel if you have not already. Have a great day. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time here on Celio's Network.